Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabrielle and I'm a tax manager at one of the big four accounting firms. And here on my channel, I like to talk about topics related to personal finance, career, and work-life balance. So feel free to hit that subscribe button down below if these topics interest you. Today, I'll be covering another topic on career because I feel like a lot of you guys are interested in a career in accounting, and I actually received one question in the comment section down below on what my journey to becoming a tax manager was like. So I thought I would share with you guys my journey to becoming a tax manager at a big four firm more in a story format, starting all the way from when I was in high school. I remember feeling a lot of pressure and feeling really stressed in high school, especially in my grade 11, grade 12 year, because I needed to get the good grades in order to get into the university of my choice. However, the problem was that I didn't know what I wanted to specialize in or what I wanted to study in university. And so at that time, I didn't really have any particular passions that I wanted to pursue, or I didn't find myself particularly talented in any area. And so I took more of a logical approach in that I thought of a pretty stable job, something that has decent income, but that is also sort of in line with what, I'm kind of good at. And in high school, I was sort of good at math and being analytical. I also liked solving problems. And so I felt like I fit in with business, and it sort of helped that my family is in business and that my mom is an accountant. And so, of course, what Asian parent doesn't like accountants? And I thought that's what I wanted to pursue. So in my final years of high school, I believe when I was in grade 11 or grade 12, I took some business courses and I even took some accounting courses, and I made sure that my grades were on point and that I had the right extracurricular activities so that I could get into business school. When I got into business school, the first 2 years consisted of taking various business courses such as marketing, finance, accounting, HR, logistics, etc., just to get a sense of what sort of area you want to specialize in. Obviously, I already knew what I wanted to specialize in, and that was accounting. And it also required you to have a certain grade level in order to be eligible for the accounting specialization in your third and your fourth year. Luckily, I was able to specialize in accounting in my third year. From there on, you are also required to take some prerequisite courses for the CPA program after you graduate. And this required a little bit of planning in your third and your fourth year in order to make sure that you take all the required courses, so you don't need to do a victory lap, which is a fifth year of university, or even taking extra courses after you graduate, such as continuing education. But it's pretty straightforward if you are referring to the CPA guidelines on what sort of courses that you need to take, because they actually list the courses that are available in your university. So I just made sure that I split them across third and fourth year. Not only did classes and grades occupy my mind, but the greatest stress of all in third year was definitely trying to get an internship. Recruit for the accounting firms at my university was very structured. In third year, you could have the opportunity to get an internship at one of the big four. And if you did well, you would most likely be offered a full-time position after you graduated. Obviously, this would be an ideal position because you could basically go through fourth year feeling really relaxed and knowing that you have a job if you had that third year internship. Unfortunately for me though, I did not get that internship. I did go through recruit, but I was not as prepared as I thought I was in terms of my application and my interview process. Needless to say, I was absolutely devastated that I didn't get the internship. But I picked myself up and I learned that what's important is not that I didn't get it, but to learn from it. How can I improve myself? And also to get any sort of internship in my third year so that I could have an experience that I could refer to when I go through recruit in my fourth and final year of university. You can imagine that I was pretty motivated to get any internship, so I scoured all the job postings and I came across one that I really liked, and it was at one of the national banks. And so I over prepared for that interview. I even brought a portfolio of all my past work so that I could show what sort of work I've done. And that interview went really well, and the interviewer really liked me and expressed to me that they wanted to hire me. But there was another applicant who was an MBA student who was more qualified, and that they have chosen to go with him. Again, I was defeated, but I went right back to applying for jobs again. And lo and behold, if you really want something and if you really try, then sometimes the stars align and you kind of get what you put all your effort into. That MBA student who got the offer actually rejected it because, I don't know, they maybe came across a better job offer, and I got landed that position. And for me, I was so relieved that I got that job, that internship, and I knew that experience was going to be critical when I go through recruit the following year. After finishing my internship at the National Bank and even getting an offer to come back after I graduate, I knew the connections that I built and the experiences that I've learned would be so important during my application and interview process for recruit for the Big Four. I'm sure that you could guess by now that I was successful during the recruit in my 4th year. You could actually check out my video that I will be linking above on how I got into a Big Four accounting firm, which kind of delves more into the details on interviews and networking and all the details that involve going through recruit. So check it out if that is something that interests you. Now I'm going to jump ahead to after I've graduated from university and starting my first day of work. I still remember the first day of work so clearly. I was so excited, but at the same time, I was really nervous, and all the seniors seemed like super experienced, and I knew that there was a lot to learn. And that's exactly what you do. You do a lot of learning the first 2.5 years of your career, because not are you only learning on the job and learning from your seniors and all the different client files and all the different types of taxes, but you're also studying towards your CPA designation after work. I went through the CPA PEP program, and I believe PEP stands for Professional Education Program, and this is what I was referring to before in your 3rd and 4th year of university when you had to take certain prerequisite courses. It was in order to get into this program. So once you're in this program, you have to do an additional 6 modules, and this takes the course of your next 2.5 years, and each module lasts around 2 months, and at the end of each module there is a 1-day exam. I think it's around 3 hours exam that you need to take, and that's only for the first 4 modules. The last 2 modules were more based on teamwork and teamwork assignments, so you don't really have exams for those 2. After you completed the PEP program, you could finally write the CV, which is the Common Final Exam, which is a 3-day exam consisting of 4 to 5 hours each day. And this exam is a difficult exam where you have to write cases each day, and each case consists of you reading, I don't know, like 10 pages of facts, and then also doing the necessary calculations in Excel, and then writing your analysis in a memo format that also consists of 10 plus pages of just writing your analysis. Don't worry, I know this sounds really daunting, but that's exactly what the 6 modules during the PEP program is designed to help you with, to help you prepare for the final exam. And also, you are given about 2 months break right before your exam just to study cases. You get up early and you go to a library or somewhere you could focus as if you're emulating the exam, and you start writing a case from 9 and then you finish based on the allocated time, and then you debrief after and you try to analyze how you could improve your answers so that you could really prepare for the exam. And this goes on for 2 months, and I even studied on the weekends sometimes because I felt like I was falling behind on debriefing, which is the most important thing because you want to really get the answers right, enough answers so that you could pass the exam. Now, writing the exam itself, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty stressful because it is a 3-day back-to-back exam, and each day is 4 or 5 hours long. And you need to really be strategic in terms of your bathroom breaks and what you bring for lunch and all these small little things that you don't even worry about before, and which could totally impact how you write the exam. And just having that done after the third day, I was so relieved. But at the same time, I was anxious because I had to wait a couple of months to see what my results are going to be. A couple of months later, I remember waking up at 7 a.m., really hungover because we had a celebration the day before just to get everyone's mind off the exam. And I was counting down the seconds. And when I saw that I passed, I remember being so elated, so happy. And I just remember crying and calling my mom because she was not with me at the time. She was in Korea, and just being so happy because it seemed like the results of all your hard work from university. And so it was definitely a day that I will remember forever, and that feeling of just, being really proud of what I've achieved. Looking back, the 2.5 years was definitely the more difficult times in my career, just because you're balancing so many different things. You're not only just started work, but you're also studying towards your designation. And also you need to somewhat maintain a normal life, maintain those relationships that are important to you, and also at the same time have some fun. I also definitely have some amazing memories from those first few years, especially with my peers, and you definitely get to develop a strong bond with them just because you start work together and you study together, and also the convenience of being at the office together. After work on Fridays, you could go out for happy hour and even be together during firm sponsored events where the drinks are free and you could really just have a good time. One thing that I did that was sort of bold of me during my first year of work was to take 3 months off, not paid, leave to go traveling. And this was something I really wanted to do after I graduated, because in university, I saw a lot of my friends take gap years or even, do an extra year of university to do exchange programs in Europe. But for me, I prioritized graduating and getting a job and then traveling once I have that security. And so one of the things I negotiated with my offer was the ability to take time off to go traveling. And so that's exactly what I did. I'm so glad that I did take those 3 months off, because in the long run, it actually didn't impact anything. I was able to go through the PEP program and write my exam in time with everyone else. So for me, the only downside was not getting paid, but I mean, money, you could always earn more, right? So I'm really glad that I took the 3 months off to go traveling, and subsequent vacations I made sure that I maxed it out to go traveling Europe whenever I could, because that was one of my big dreams, to really travel Europe. And another thing that I did in my third year at the firm was go on a mini 1 month client secondment across the country. And that was a lot of fun too, because it felt more like traveling than work, really. And so I also learned a lot from that experience. And shortly after, when I designated, I was able to go on an international secondment to Korea for 2.5 years. If you're curious to know how I was able to land an international secondment opportunity, check out my video on how to make your own opportunities at a Big Four for more details. After being in Korea for 2.5 years for my secondment, and as it was coming to an end, I was offered to stay, but for me, I really had to take the time to decide what I wanted. Did I want to stay in Korea? I mean, I was having such an amazing time that I almost didn't want to come back. But at the same time, I had to think about my long-term future and where I saw myself living. Was it going to be in Korea or in Canada? And so at the end of the day, I decided that I wanted to come back to Canada. And that required for me to start the discussion with a partner here in Canada about me coming back and negotiating my level as well as my salary and the timing and everything. At this point, I had over 5 years of tax experience, 2.5 years being at the Canadian firm up to the point of designation, and then the latter 2.5 years in Korea learning essentially international tax. And so the combination of those work experience, I was able to really push for a manager position coming back to Canada. And I was also able to negotiate starting in 3 months' time, because I thought this was, again, a perfect opportunity for me to go traveling, especially with my mom, because she was in Korea with me at the time. And I thought it would be really hard to come across another timing like this where I'm in between jobs, essentially. And so I took the time off and I was able to go traveling in Europe with my mom. And in a way, it was me patting myself on the back for all my hard work until that point and just relaxing a little bit before I go back to the grind in Canada. Now, coming full circle, I returned to Canada in the beginning of 2020. And right as I started working, we entered quarantine in the middle of March. And so I've basically been working from home since then. Majority of this year was sort of spent me catching up a little bit on Canadian tax. And at the same time, I was fortunate enough to go into a client secondment. You could also check out my video on a day in my life of an accountant. The client secondment has also been a very interesting experience because obviously everything has been virtual. Also, the company is growing, so I've been able to help them with a lot of ongoing issues, a lot of transfer pricing as they become more multinational, as well as restructuring projects, which I have some expertise from my experience in Korea. I've also taken the time to study for my AICPA, which is the US CPA, and this is because for Canadian CPAs, we have a reciprocity exam. The main reason why I want to pursue my AICPA is because based on my experience in Korea, I realize that the world is becoming more and more global in terms of their business transactions, and also how big of a force the US is in terms of the global economy. And so that is definitely a skill set that I was determined that I wanted to get. Also, living here in Canada, it is obviously essential to brush up on my Canadian tax skills. So I've decided to take the Tax In-Depth course, which is held by CPA Canada. And it's a pretty well-known course for those who plan to pursue a career in tax and want to become tax specialists. Wrapping everything up, it has definitely been a journey to say the least. From 6 or 7 years ago when I first graduated university to the point that I am here now, I have gone through a lot of changes in my career, some things which I didn't even expect, such as going on an international secondment. But one thing that I want to highlight and that I want to focus on is that I've always continued to grow both professionally and personally without really compromising on either. I took the time to really focus on my career, but all at the same time, I looked for opportunities where I could grow personally as an individual. And I believed it was really important to balance the two. I mean, everyone's career path is going to look different. I just wanted to share with you guys what mine looked like. Looking back, I'm really happy with how I spent my time, both being focused on my career, but at the same time, just enjoying life and going traveling and spending time with the people that I really care about. If you guys heard my whole story and you guys are here now, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that it was useful for you and that it helped you, kind of giving you an idea of what a career path in tax could look like. If you guys did enjoy it, it would mean a lot to me if you guys could subscribe and hit that like button down below. If you guys have any questions or suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I promise I'll address them in a future video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!